are now listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
Happy New Year! Alright, so in this tutorial we're going to look at the questions freshly released in January 2023. I'm going to blast through all of these with sample answers, with sample ideas. I'm not going to develop them into an essay. All I want to do is just give you ideas, okay? Possible answers for you to run with. Now, the reason I can do this so fast is not only because I've been doing it for the last 10 years, but also I'm using the same system for each question. It's a relatively simple, straightforward system. This is the system that we use in our online writing task course. And this is also the same system you can learn for free when you sign up. We are developing a new course which is free for the email subscribers at IELTSPodcast.com. And it works in conjunction with the AI essay checking tool we've got. And we're getting some great results from that at the moment. It's in beta at the moment. That means, we've just opened it up to a few test users. But by the end of January, we will have released this course and you will be able to start it probably sooner. But either way you want to sign up and get on our newsletter, and you'll be notified immediately when we release the first tutorial, which should be very, very soon. Let's jump into it. In recent years, there has been growing interest in the relationship between equality and personal achievement. Some people believe that individuals can achieve more in egalitarian societies. That's probably body paragraph 1. Others believe that high levels of personal achievement are only possible if individuals are free to succeed or fail according to their individual merits. Body paragraph 2, and it does say discuss both these sides, give your opinion. So body paragraph 1, individuals achieve more in fairer societies, egalitarian societies. Body paragraph 2, it's largely due to individuality and freedom to succeed or fail. Body paragraph 2. Now, this is a dangerous topic because a lot of people feel really strongly. Some people think, the state should be providing these benefits. They should be providing safety nets, education. And then others might take a more liberal view and say, no, individuals, this is, society is going to have a set amount of winners and losers, whether it's a highly, socialist country or whether it's a highly capitalistic country. So as you can see, it's a very sensitive topic. Now, I've given you a few ideas for body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2. Now, I'm following a system which I will share with you in a second if it does not become clear for you, the listener, in the next couple of questions. But I'm saying be careful with this question. It's sensitive. Your emotions might get involved and you might start running with this and find out that you've written an essay completely in favor of socialism or completely in favor of individual or commerce-based society, whatever. Just don't let your political views interfere in the answer of this question. Maybe you can include them at the end in your opinion. That's fine. But at the end of the day, we're writing this essay because we're going to score, because we want to pass the IELTS exam. We don't want to convince the examiner that socialism is correct or that capitalism is correct, whatever viewpoint. We don't really care. We just want to communicate effectively. So we're going to go for simple answers. But next paragraph, our personalities are predetermined as a result of our genes before we are born, and there's nothing that can be done to change our character traits. To what extent do you agree? Again, this could be a sensitive topic for you. You could feel very strongly about this. that doesn't matter. Okay, all we want to do is answer the question. Okay, the examiner doesn't really care if you think X, Y, Z. Here's the plan. Here's the answer. Right. I'm just going to go with the first phrase in the sentence just for simplicity. I strongly agree. Personalities are predetermined as a result of our genes before we are born. That's it. Okay, that's going to be body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 2, I'll go with the same argument, and let's see. There is nothing that can be done to change our character traits. Now, I'm going to mention this a little bit in my second body paragraph, just to show I've looked at both sides. But when I do look at it, I'm going to say, let's see, nothing can be done to change our character traits. I'm going to mention this, and I'm going to say something like, studies have shown that despite, I'm just going to talk about autism here. And I could just say, like, despite therapy, an autistic child is usually considered autistic for life. Nothing can be done to change that character trait. Maybe some of the medical audience might be up in arms now, but as a layman, as a simple person who does not know much about medicine, I think it could be a reasonable argument. I don't know if autism is a personality, might be a mental. I don't know. But basically, I might not use that, but I could say something like, angry children have been proven to be angry for life by these studies. The examiner doesn't really care if that's true or false. I don't really care. If I communicate effectively, that's what the examiner cares about. Okay? Next one. Some people believe that teaching children at home is best for a child's development. Body paragraph 1, and then the second clause. While others think it's important for children to go to school. Now, discuss both the advantages of each method and give your own opinion. The advantages of teaching a child at home is that there are no transport costs. The curriculum can be adapted to the beliefs of the parents. What else? The parents have complete control over the education. Those are the advantages. The advantages of children going to school are the kid gets socialized, learns how to interact with others. The child does not end up a weirdo. I'm just joking. The child gets to create a network of friends from these socialized activities. And 3, if the child is walking to school, they get physical exercise. I don't know. Okay? So doesn't really, I know that last one wasn't the strongest one, so I wouldn't develop it, but the socializing one was definitely a strong one. Job done. Those are my ideas. Now, if I'm on an online course like the one we sell at IELTSPodcast.com, you get a system for developing these ideas. You get a template and it becomes so much easier. Okay, we even teach you how to think of ideas if you don't know how to generate these ideas, if your mind goes blank. Okay, and as I said before, for me, it's quick and automatic because I've been doing it for 10 years, and also I've got a system. Okay, next question. As the number of cars increases, more money has to be spent on road systems. Some people think that the government should pay for this. Body paragraph 1, probably. Others, however, think that drivers should cover the costs. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Viewpoint 1, government should pay for road infrastructure because, and now I develop it, drivers should cover road infrastructure costs because. In my conclusion, I'm going to say that the drivers should pay for that because they're the ones using it. Okay, I could also say the government should pay for it because it creates jobs, because it makes commerce easier and commerce creates jobs, whatever. But I'm just going to go for the simple one. Drivers should pay for it because they are the ones using it. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. Both answers are correct. Whether the government pays for it or the drivers should pay for it, both answers are correct. It doesn't matter. We're not getting tested on our ability to fund or to think of ideas or justify how transport infrastructure should be paid for. We're getting points for communicating clearly. Simple ideas are easier to communicate. That's why we should go for, in this one, I think the easiest to communicate would be drivers should pay for it. They're the ones using it. Okay? And now you might say that's a basic answer and basic vocabulary. Yeah, maybe you're right there, but you can still embellish it. You could say, because drivers make up the vast amount of citizens using this infrastructure, they should therefore be the ones beholden to the burden of the cost. I don't know if we wanted to elaborate and pick up that extra vocabulary. Some people suggest that a country should try to produce all the food for its population and import as little food as possible. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Body paragraph 1, this is a great idea for food security. You can also control food security. You're not beholden to imports. Food safety, imports could be dangerous, but if it's all produced at home, that's fine. That's enough. 2 reasons I could develop those. That's body paragraph 1. I strongly disagree in body paragraph 2, and governments should have a mixed approach of using imported food and producing their own, because it gives more variety. It could actually be safer, because if there is a frost or some severe climate change and the country cannot produce its own, then it has to quickly establish an import network to fulfill the gap. So a mixed approach is the safest, and that's my conclusion. Easy. Museums and art galleries should concentrate on local works rather than showing the cultures of artworks from other cultures. This came up about 7 years ago, the recycling the questions. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Body paragraph 1, governments should definitely include local works, this because, and now we develop it, because national pride inspire the local population. Body paragraph 2, museums should show artworks from other cultures because it educates the local population. It shows them fresh perspectives, different perspectives, new perspectives if the artwork comes from other countries. So there's definitely lots of benefits. Conclusion, museum and art galleries should bring both sets of work into the gallery, into the museums, okay? International and national. Online currencies have become more common in recent years. Why is this? Body paragraph 1, for sure. Is this a positive or negative development? This is a negative development, absolutely. Okay? Here, I would need to think of some examples. Maybe I could talk about crypto. I could say, why is this? Online currencies have become more common in recent years because of, 1, they are more competitive, that it's less expensive to move that money around. 2, migrant populations are becoming more frequent in the last 30 years. People are moving around more, so they need a solution, and the old infrastructure cannot fulfill their demands, cannot fulfill their needs competitively. That's enough, and then I could give some examples. Is this a positive or negative development? I could say it's a negative development because, and again, I can go both sides. I could say it's totally positive. I could say it's totally negative. In this one, I'm going to say it's totally negative because some of these online currencies can disappear overnight. And I'll give an example. Some of these online currencies have a learning curve, and people have been known to lose money in the process of learning how to use them. Thirdly, let's see, sometimes these online currencies are unregulated by the government, leaving the people exposed to fraud and financial risks. Okay, 3 strong reasons why it's a negative development. Now, in this one, I wouldn't put a conclusion. I'd just say to summarize. Okay, and then I'd briefly mention both of my arguments in both of those body paragraphs. Okay, number 8 out of 10. So we've got 3 more to go. Number 8, number 9, and number 10. Many customs and traditional ways of behaviors are no longer relevant to the modern life and not worth keeping. Do you agree or disagree? Wow. Okay, many customs and traditional ways of behaviors are no longer relevant to the modern life and are not worth keeping. 1. I agree. Some customs and some traditions are no longer relevant. For example, maybe asking your spouse's partner if you can marry their daughter, for example. This is a common tradition in Europe. There's no point, because I know that my spouse would have said yes. And I know that my spouse's mother would have said yes as well. It's just a formality that's redundant. So, yeah, there was no need to do it. It was going to happen. Okay? Another one, a tradition. And by the way, I would not talk about my personal situation, my spouse's mother. I'd say in most situations, the spouse's mother usually accepts the partner, and it's not necessary. Okay, I would just make my personal situation into a generalization, into a hedged generalization. Okay, in most situations, most parents usually accept the son or daughter's partner. Okay. Now, another tradition that I don't think makes much sense could be, let's see, I don't know, that I was going to say the elf on the shelf, but this only started in 2006. So I could just say the lie of Santa Claus. It's a bit miserable, my argument, but again, it doesn't really matter. If I communicate it effectively, it's fine. The lie of Santa Claus just creates distrust, because the child might start thinking, what else have they lied to me about? Santa Claus takes all the gratitude for what the parents have actually bought with their own money instead of the parents. So there's lots of things wrong with it. Do I personally agree with that idea? It doesn't really matter. I don't actually. I think Santa Claus is magical, but it doesn't really matter. I just want a clear argument, and I can develop it, and I can give you reasons why. And then in the second paragraph, I'd say, however, on the other hand, there are numerous reasons why customs and traditions could be worth keeping. For example, now I'd have to think of some traditions. For example, we could say Pancake Day and Lent. This is more of a Christian one. Okay, but you use up all the fats, and then you're supposed to start fast. You use up all the fats in your house on Pancake Day, and then you're supposed to start fasting. Okay, and I could say that there's lots of health benefits, although it might not seem relevant to a modern day. There are lots of health benefits in this. I could say the same of fasting about Ramadan, if I knew more about it, but I don't. Okay, so I probably wouldn't, but I could talk about Lent and Pancake Day. Okay. And then I could talk about another tradition that might not seem relevant, but there are some benefits to it. Now, I'd have to brainstorm a little bit more on that, but nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. Then in the conclusion, I would say there's benefits and drawbacks to keeping some, and they have to be judged on a case-by-case benefit rather than just eradicating in one fell swoop our past, our heritage, and our customs. Next question. Some think secondary and high school students should be allowed to choose academic courses leading to university or practical courses leading to careers such as carpentry. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, I think I'm just going to go off the bat. Students should be allowed to choose academic courses leading to university, body paragraph 1. The reason is they'll choose what they like, they're more likely to succeed. Body paragraph 2, they should also be allowed to choose practical courses if they wish. And they should also be allowed to choose these carpentry or plumbing courses or, more practical ones if they want to. That's body paragraph 2. Conclusion, they should be allowed to choose what they want to. No problem at all. Easy. Final one. Some people say that to prevent illness and disease, governments should focus more on reducing environmental pollution and housing problems. To what extent do you agree or disagree? I'm just going to go with the flow with this one. Yes, I agree. To prevent illness and disease, governments should focus more on reducing environmental pollution. Body paragraph 1. Reducing environmental pollution would definitely increase our strength against illness and disease because we could have cleaner air with better air pollution regulations. Cleaner air helps us have stronger lungs, which would help fight off airborne viruses such as a little-known disease called COVID, a little-known influenza called COVID, for example. Okay? And I could think of another one. Furthermore, if governments restricted plastic pollution in the sea, we would have less microplastics in our food chain. And these, although there is no scientific evidence yet, it doesn't really take an expert to say that we don't want plastics in our food chain. Okay? Body paragraph 2, housing problems. Governments should focus more on housing problems to prevent illness and disease. Yes, housing problems such as a lack of suitable housing in most countries can lead to overcrowded houses, which makes diseases easier to spread. So if the government set out a decent policy of reducing housing prices and increasing housing capacity in countries, then more people would be able to have their own house and they would probably have a healthier life as they interact with less people on a closer basis. There we go. Conclusion. I agree with both points. Easy, straightforward. Now, it might sound arrogant, me saying easy and straightforward. As I said at the beginning, it's easy and straightforward for me because, one, I've got a system of, I know how to simplify every single question. You can learn that system in the course that we're sharing. 2, I also know how to get ideas, and I know how to get ideas because I've been doing it for a long time, and I can teach you how to get ideas as well, and then how to get those ideas that the question wants and how to drop them into a framework so you've got automatic, quick and easy paragraphs. This is the exact system Annabelle used, and she managed to boost her score from 6.5 to 7 in about 3 weeks. Easy and straightforward. So thank you very much for listening. My name is Ben Worthington from IELTSPodcast.com. Go to IELTSPodcast.com, sign up to our newsletter, and you can join our course for free. Have a super day and good luck with your IELTS preparation.
Thanks for listening to IELTSPodcast.com.